All right. Hi, everyone. For those of you that I've not met, my name's Jock Lawrence, and I'm the founder and CEO of Mobble. Yeah, first, it's great to see so many faces and names that I know that use the app already, and some new that haven't used the app before. So welcome to those. Um, and yes, I'm from a family farm near Avenel, Victoria, and that's where the company was founded back in 2018, and since then has turned into a farm management platform that helps farmers become more successful and make things easier for everything that they do. And this webinar is going to be focused around a demo of the product. And we'll focus on setting up a little bit and how to get the most of it out of it from the get-go. We will also deep dive into some mapping features and we'll talk about stuff that's going on, new stuff that's happening as well at Mobile as well, around new features around file uploads, our most recent integrations with other companies as well, which we're excited to talk about. And we'll open up to Q&A. So if you got any questions throughout, feel free to put them in the chat. Katie will probably cut me off and ask the question straight away, most likely. And we'll open up at the end for Q&A. You can either ask in the chat or come off mute and ask those questions in person as well at the end. But if you could stay on mute for the majority of the demo, that'd be greatly appreciated too. Thank you. All right, so I'll get into it. I'll share my screen and we'll go straight into a demonstration. All right, how's that look, Katie? If I showed the right one,
No, you haven't.
we'll try again. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. How's that looking?
That looks better. Sounds good.
Perfect. All right, so the Mobile is accessed on two different apps. You've got the web app on the computer, which I'm going to demo today, and I've also got the mobile app on your phone, which you use out in the paddock, and it's the one you use the most often. So the mobile app out in the paddock is works completely offline, and is the one you'll be using the most. But the web app and the mobile app work very similar. So we'll just show the web app because it's got a bigger screen and it's easy to show you around. And we'll go from there. So the web app has a bit more functionality around reports and stuff, and the mobile app we'll be using out in the yard. So that's the big core differences there. Um, Now, so I want to kick things off with just sort of farm map overview and getting started with Mobble. So when you first access Mobble, what you'll see is a big blank map. What you have to do is you zoom into your property and you'll start mapping out the farm. Now, mapping out the farm is really easy. If you've got a map file already, you can send it through to us and we'll upload it for you. Or it's as simple as zooming into a paddock, pressing the big plus button here, and adding in a paddock here, and just going around the strainer posts of that paddock or that field, and mapping it in that way. It'll auto calculate your hectares and everything like that, and you name it in here, and you add the type. Now, the type is a way where you can classify paddocks. You can classify them in different ways. You can classify them as a crop type or maybe just pastures and improved pastures versus native pastures or anything you like. Or maybe it's a area of a forestry. You can classify it any way you like. So this is all editable. You can make your own custom types here and they'll come from different colors. And once you start mapping things in on the map on the paddocks, you may also want to map in your map assets as well. And those are things like troughs and tanks or water pipelines. So you can pretty much map in anything in Mobile. It's pretty flexible. Um, and the way you do that is a very similar way. You add in a map asset here, and you zoom into a trough or a tank or whatever you want to map out, and you locate it and you press the point. You can also map in lines, so pipelines, or roads and stuff like that. So it's a great way to map in a lot of your map assets, paddocks, and then if you've got workers or family members that need access, they can see, the whole digital twin of the farm, wherever they are, on your phone, offline as well. So the map works really well offline. You get your GPS location will still work. So it's great for new team members, as well as people like contractors or farm advisors that don't know the farm very well. They can also get access to the map, and it's a great way for them to visualize where they are and how the the farm is set up. Once you've done your mapping, the next thing you want to do is start adding in your livestock. And it's pretty simple. Once again, the bottom button here, the big plus button, is where you're adding your livestock, add mob. And you're adding them in as mobs to a paddock, and yeah, and you're getting a bunch of information around it. So I might just add one in as an example. Oh, there we go. I'm in an inact. One second. I'm just in an inactive property. All right, there we go. Um, all right, so you have a few different options as you're adding your livestock. You can add it in as a natural increase, your birth, purchase, or just set up or other. So if you're just getting started, set up or other is fine. But going forward, it's generally just going to be a natural increase or a purchase. It's worth noting here we're doing a full livestock reconciliation of your livestock here. So we're taking records of your natural increases, purchases, sales, casualties as well, deaths, um, all the way from when the livestock comes to the property all the way through when they leave. So you end up with a really good understanding of the changes in livestock and why. So just noting that as well. And we have in this report section, we have a full livestock rec report come into financial year or whenever you or your bank manager or accountant needs it as well. So let's go set up or other for now, and we'll select the paddock, go to Carly's paddock. You can select the date that this was added in, so we can backdate when these livestock came into the paddock for things like our days grazed and rested counters. Livestock type, let's just start with some cattle. Let's make them Angus, gender, cows, and you can select multiple ages. Now, these ages will be the colors, custom colors that you choose, or the NLAS colors for sheep and goats in Australia, um, like so. Now, the top tip here is when you're adding in your livestock is classes. So classes is a way to differentiate different mobs or livestock. For us at home, we have like a top line and a bottom line of our merino ewes. So we call them first and seconds, and we scan them in lamb as in twins or seconds. And these are classes that we use to differentiate our mobs. So you can have a think about what classes you want to use or what names you use on your mobs in general, and add them in here as a class type. So yeah, for these ones, let's class them as wets. So maybe these cows are in, make them a bit older, are in, yeah, they've got, they're in calf. And you save it like that, and that's how you add in your first mob. Um, Now, I will note when you're getting set up, one of the good things to do is to double check um, or make sure that the types and the classes that you're using are relevant to your operation. So you can come into the settings here, classes, types, and tags, and you can customize Mobble a lot in different fields of information that you want to put in there. So the paddock types we just talked about. So you can come in here and delete the ones you don't want and add in the ones you do want, for example, and change the colors here as well. For things like your classes, well, let's go with breeds. Cattle breeds, you can delete all the cattle breeds you don't use. Maybe just add in the two or three that you do use, and then it'll be much cleaner when you're adding things in the future. Um, and then with classes, the way you name your mobs or differentiate them a bit deeper, you can also go through here and list them all out in one big go. So that's one way to do it. You can do it live within adding a mob in, or you can do it by the settings here. And the settings is a good way to do it to get started, I'd say. Um, yeah, yeah. There's a few other things there we haven't talked about yet that you can customize a bit further as well. Nice. Once you've add in your paddocks and your livestock, you may want to add in your team members, which is really easy to do here. You can invite your team members um, via this plus button. Everything's done by the plus button. You simply just add in their email address and their team role, and maybe it's a admin, a user, or view only. I'll set up to that in a second, and they'll just get an email and they'll create a password, their own login to Mobble, so they can access the property. Now, there's a couple of different roles. So admins have full access; they can see everything pretty much, including things like sales and livestock reconciliation reporting. A user is one level lower. They can pretty much do everything, but they can't access things like fi anything financial, anything like livestock rec reports, anything a little bit sensitive. So maybe it's a worker, they don't want full access. Then there's view only as well. They have even a smaller view of what they can see, and they actually can't change any of the anything in Mobble there as well. So yeah, when you're setting up Mobble, that's good to know. All right, so you've added in some paddocks, you've added in your first livestock, you've added in some team members. Now we can go through some of like what the functionality of Mobile as well. So the map page is sort of your is where you're going to go to a lot once you've got the map in there. Um, and you can a couple of bit of a tip here is if the satellite imagery looks a little bit out of date, you can choose a more up to date satellite imagery here. So here map or Google satellite is usually the best. So you can change it to one of those. Um, and the mapping is also great for, measuring paths and stuff. So maybe you want to measure things like you're planning to put in a new pipeline and measure the distance of that pipeline to understand how much materials you want to buy. There's some great things like that. Also tasks. So Mobile one of the really real big benefits of mobile is having the whole team have access to all your farm data in one place. So we have at our home farm, which I can change to actually. So this is our farm in north central Victoria, where sheep and cattle, mainly sheep. Here I'll go to yeah, and yeah. So we have my dad, myself, my brother, my two brothers, my mum, a worker of ours, all have access to mobile and they can see what's going on. And that's the beauty of it, that communication between the team members. Um, Now these little red dots are tasks, so you can add in your geolocated tasks. My parents like to use these for weed locations, so they can get to them at another time. And yeah, once again, the plus button here, you can add a task in and like make a location wherever it is, drag it around. Really good. You can sort of use your imagination what you want to use that for. Um, and in the task section here, sure what's going on there. In the task section here, you can see all the tasks, and they don't have to be geolocation tasks. They can be like, fix the motorbike in the shed, or give it a maintenance or and stuff like that. This can be a task list every week, or it can be ongoing tasks forever, um, and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's good for that task management. Um, and so we'll move on to livestock management. So yeah, so Mobble, it's really simple and easy to update, livestock movements and treatments and stuff like that. So to move livestock, say if we've got this mob in the mine paddock here, some merino ewes, scanned as in twin, they're our top line first. We've moved them to the near paddock. That's as simple as dragging it across the screen and selecting move mob and it'll automatically update. I won't update these ones because this is a live property, but you get the gist. If I select this paddock, you get a bunch more information. You can get some information on how long they've been in that paddock for, days grazed, and the stocking rates per hectare on that paddock. Now I can see this at the moment. I've got AE, which is a Northern Australian stocking unit. If you have selected the wrong stocking unit or want to change it, it's easy to do in units and formatting. So for those in New Zealand, we've got SU there for stocking units in North America as well, and Australia, there's a few different ones. But for us down south, it's usually DSE, so I might change it back to DSE. And now we can see, yeah, the DSE per hectare here, and the average DSE per hectare, which is a rolling 12-month average. Um, More on the livestock management. So yeah, I can see how long this has been rested for. So we're doing all your treatments in Mobile as well. So we talk about compliance. You need to comply with not only things like locating hazards and stuff, which we can do in Mobile, but also treatments and inventory on livestock and paddocks. So it's real easy to add a treatment to a mob. We call it a mob action, and the mob action is very broad. It can be almost anything. It's like a generic record on a mob. Um, and we add a mob action here, and we can add um, Say it's a drench, and we can add products to that as well. So we have a full inventory model that's self-managed by the farmer, and we're adding in batch numbers and batch IDs here as well for compliance. If you want to, you can choose not to if you want to do it elsewhere. I can add in things like vet module as example, and yeah, off we go. The when we add a drench to a mob or a vaccination and it has a withholding period, it will assign that withholding period to the mob. So if I go to the map, what will end up happening, I can see a mob down here actually, is for every map mob in withhold, there'll be a red dot on the mob. And you can see here that they're in withhold. I can go into that detail, the mob detail here, and see when it comes out of withhold. And yeah, I can look in the history here. So every mob has a full history of everything that's ever happened to it, every mob move and vaccination, going back forever. I can see that my brother Max vaccinated these weathers, yeah, back on the 25th of the 3rd, and that's the reason they're in withhold at the moment. Yeah, so that's a little bit on livestock management. The every single mob has a history going back to the start of time when they first arrived on the property. That's all, yeah, that's all recorded there, and also some more in-depth reporting on sort of things like casualties or treatments or actions as well. Everything that you record on a mob or a paddock is also can be found in our summaries. So we have summaries on all these mob actions, paddock actions. Everything you're recording in there has a summary page where we have more detail. You can download it into spreadsheets. You can query it, search it, whatever you like. So it's all there. And it's same with the paddock as well. Like select a paddock, I can do some things to a paddock, like add a task or a paddock action, and that could be a spray record, fertilizer record, any of the above, and that'll end up in the paddock history. So if I go into this paddock info, I'll get a bunch more information. You can see the history here of this paddock back forever, every mob that's ever been in or out of that paddock. Um, these key numbers here around DSE, DSE per hectare, average DSE per hectare on a rolling 12 months, and a bit more information too. So this historic livestock graph's always great. You can see this paddock's been pretty much set stocked the whole time, all this year. But you can see the how heavily it's stocked it's been throughout the year. There's been big spikes, I'm guessing, around shearing time. Um, and if I change this graph to ZSE per hectare, it'll give me this rolling 12-month average. And if that's trending up or down, you can see that that paddock's been either more heavily grazed or lightly grazed over a 12-month period. So it's a bit of like a performance value in a way. And if you're interested in understanding which paddocks are maybe um, the most heavily run or heavily stocked over a 12-month period, you can go into the paddocks list. There's another way to view the property via a paddocks list and order that average DSA per hectare and see which are your heaviest, most heavily grazed paddocks here as well, going back down. So you can see we've got some improved pastures um, on irrigation that obviously have a really hot stocking rate. You'd also order for other things like which paddocks have been the most grazed in a row versus most rested in a row as well, and things like that. So just there's some interesting ways. I won't go into detail, but interesting ways you can order and view data to see the information that you want, nice and quick and easy for that sort of stuff. So I sort of covered livestock management and compliance, and a little bit of grazing management in there too, which is great. Um, Now, one thing I want to mention is we've recently been rolling out files and image uploads across the app. So it's a great feature, and you'll see it throughout the app. You'll see it things like adding a task in, say here. You can add a file to it, like a picture of the task on that you need to get done, like a pole in the fence for just more information. Um, you'll see it on the sales, you'll see it on purchases, you'll see it on all your mob actions. Some of the most used areas of files and image uploads that we've found, or the people actually modelers that have been using it, it's being used very like really well. Uptake's been amazing. Is mainly around one mob actions, so treatments and recording things like animal condition and stuff, still taking photos of that. And then also sales and purchases, so people and tasks as well, but probably sales is the biggest one. So people that add uploading invoices, NVDs, all these things to sale records. So they have a central place for all that information that they can access. So when they go to the summaries and sales, which I won't go into this one because it's a active property, but um, you'll see which sales have the attachments on them. You can download them. Your accountant can have access to them from Mobble as well, and stuff like that too. So yeah, it's becoming like a real central place for a lot of stuff like that. We have a files section here. Um, and for all those files you're adding to sales and like sales, purchases, mob actions, tasks, there is a way you can access all files via the file search function here. Um, and we've also added this concept of property files, property level files. So you might want to have a central place for compliance and regulation files like a biosecurity plan. Maybe you have some operations for the team that you want located they can access quickly and ongoing. So there's a few little folders there you can upload files to. You can use it or you don't have to, but it's just an option for the people that wanted this feature. A lot of people did, so that to upload a various number of files to the app and have it all centralized in one spot. Um, yeah, which has been great. So I'll go to our test farm, and yes, you can see all the files that have been added here. And this is an example one to a task of a busted fence and different things. And you can filter and search for those files you want here. Maybe you want all your sale files and stuff like invoices or MVDs there as well. So yeah, it's helping with the organization of that info. Um, So we sort of touched on it before, but yeah, Mobile has a full inventory system in here, which I'll go back to the live farm um, of all different. Yeah, so it's self-managed. Once you add in your products, you're basically adding batches ongoing. My parents aren't the best. You can see some negatives in there at it, but you will. They are good at applying the applications, and you can see here we're also tracking sort of usage over time of different inventory items ongoing. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful area you can use well for tracking, inventory used over time, but also we are looking to improve the functionality and the ease of use of that in the future as well. So there'll be some changes over the year. Not to um, yeah, scare anyone, but there'll be some slight changes to make it a lot easier to use than it currently is, which we're excited to get into. Um, all right. How are we going there, Katie? Any questions so far?
No questions so far. But Jock, I wonder if it's worth mentioning the new update on the summaries for livestock numbers. We can now add multiple properties in
Sure.
there.
Sure, absolutely. So for some of our bigger operations, you can we have a so there's a well, I'll mention two different things actually. So we have a livestock reconciliation report. So this is your breakdown of your starting head of a certain period. So we have a starting head, starting like a sorry, this is like last 12 months. So the starting date back on the 7th of the 4th, 2025, and now this is the 7th of the 4th, 2026. You can change this to whatever dates you like. It could be a financial year, which is probably the most common filter. You can see the sort of the change in livestock numbers over time here. Um, and yeah, it'll give you a breakdown of all the starting head of all the different types, and then also your closing head as well, and the difference and the change in that over this 12 months or the time period you've selected. Um, and it's in between. It's got the reasoning of why that some of the changes happen: natural increases, purchases, casualties, and sold. But there is other variances as well that aren't captured, like deletions of mobs and edits that we to to keep to keep the system really flexible. Doesn't always like 100% reconcile, and that's by design. Um, and yeah, we can go into here and get some more details on, let's go with our first cross use here. And you can see a breakdown of different classes and class combinations, numbers here as well. And you go a bit deeper and get age groups and stuff. So if you're a company that business that uses age groups in your livestock, it'll break down your age groups as well. We don't use age groups for our older livestock. Um, yeah, so that's that. What Katie's referring to is we have a really quick and easy way to get livestock numbers as well. So if you're interested in what's on hand right now, you can jump into this livestock numbers summary and you can get your total sheep and the same breakdown of, say, first cross ewes here. So we've got 1,200 on hand, and these are the breakdown of the classes. So we've recently done scanning. Um, and we've got a bunch in. So, well, sorry, in the middle of scanning actually is about 700 unclassed, which might be oh no, the young ones. Don't worry. So we've got twins here, 340 singles and lates here as our classes. So, and then also the DSA breakdown there as well. If you've got multiple properties, you can select both properties at once or all properties at once to get these reports concatenated, so they're all together. So yeah, so that's a great way to do that. Um, yeah, so no, great pick up there, Katie. But yeah, it's the improvement there is really quick access to those numbers. Yep. Yep. Nice.
Does anyone have
Um,
so far? If you do, feel free to pop them in the chat or just let us know.
yes. Yeah, add your questions to the chat. Go for it. I've got heaps of things to talk about, so I'll keep on talking about other things we're sort of releasing as we go. Um, one of the one thing we've released this month that we're quite excited about. So we're doing a lot of integrations with other companies, making the data flow a bit better and not as isolated between where you need the information. So we've recently integrated with Farm Focus, which is a um, now they're going to be mad at me for calling them a farm accounting software because they have a different term, but I think it's a whole farm management accounting or something similar. But they are a farm accounting software. They do forecasting and all this stuff. Farm Focus. Maybe Katie can put their link in the chat. Um, Really big in New Zealand. They're going pretty well in Australia too now. And what we're trying to do, so they have really good livestock reconciliation reporting and stuff like that on the financial side. So we're pushing some of that, or they're pulling some of that information into there. So every time you do a record like a natural increase or a death, that information will go into Farm Focus and will auto reconcile over there as well. So it's the start of it's the start of doing more integrations with sort of accounting softwares to get stop that double entry, so like save you time, get more accurate records in your financial information, and save accountants time and all that as well. So that's one thing that's been released this month. Along with the month before that, we released our Farmbot integration, which is a connection to if you have Farmbot tank monitors or trough monitors out in farm. This is an example, a test farm, but you can now see your trough out in the paddock and how full it is, and or empty it is, or rain gauge, or tank as well. So all that information is coming into Mobble now, so you get that centralized spot for that data. So when you're moving livestock, you can quickly check your trough and stuff like that too. And we're going to roll that out to more providers as well. Farmbot's the first. Farmo will also be followed pretty quickly, which is another yes IoT provider of trough heights, tank heights, rain gauges, and other things. So yeah, that'll continue to roll out. And another thing that we'll be launching hopefully this month is an improvement to our AgWorld integration. So we have an integration with AgWorld that helps push key livestock information into AgWorld and livestock location and stuff like that. And now we're pulling AgWorld information back into Mobble around spray records and withholding periods. So the thing that's really important on the livestock side of the business. So AgWorld's a cropping tool used by many accountants and many farmers pay for it. and we'll be pulling in withholding periods into Mobble. So one thing that's really important for Mobble, because we're mainly livestock focused, is understanding which paddocks we can graze. And when a paddock's in withhold, you can manually put it in withhold in Mobble under a paddock action and it'll turn red. But what we're trying to do here is stop the double entry again. And if a paddock has been sprayed within Agwell, the cropping system, it'll auto update into Mobble, and this paddock will say it's spot salt springs here. This little paddock will turn red until the withhold's gone, and it'll warn you not to move livestock in there. So yeah, just trying to make less double entry, save people time for the tools that they use on their farm. Doesn't make it mobile any more complex. It just helps with those that use both systems. Yeah. So
Cool.
those are some little updates.
Just jump in there, Jog. Hannah has just asked if you can set up your initial farm map on Ag World.
Yep, yep. So you can, if you start a trial with Mobile, it will or there's a button there somewhere where it auto pulls all the paddocks from AgWorld straight into Mobile. Is that the question? Yep, okay. It'll auto pull all the paddocks straight into Mobile, so so you'll start a trial and then all of a sudden your paddocks will be there. So it's a great experience. If you already use AgWorld, you should be able to get all your paddocks there straight away. If you haven't seen that little button or you missed it, you can just send us the KML file. So AgWorld, you can export a KML file or a mapping file, send it to us, and we'll be able to upload it for you. And the custom success team led by Katie here. Yeah, so that will upload it for you, and you won't be able to have to map in anything, and you'll be good to go from the get-go. So save you a lot of time. And yeah, so there is for those that I know, there's a fair few people on this call that are new to Mobble and haven't tried it yet. So there is a free trial. You can trial for 21 days, no obligation. You'll get full access to the system. And you will get the full support from Katie and the team as well on setting up your farm and help you get set up, understanding it, the system and stuff like that too. It should be all pretty straightforward, but we are here on the phones, on email, great customer support. They're all experts, regional backgrounds. Um, and yeah, the team's awesome. So feel free to give them a call, send an email, and we'll be able to help out, get set up. And for those that already use Mobile, use our support because they're great. So give us a call if you've got any questions. We are more than happy to help. And we also have this help center here. Awesome. It's got all the information there as well. So if you've got a quick question, you can also ask the help center as well. Um, and that's sort of that's Mobile in a very quick overview. So yeah, open up for questions. So feel free to ask any questions as you like. You can see that we've had a bit of rain this year at home, 145 mil today. So a bit of green pick, but it's unseasonably green, which is lovely, but we still love a little bit more rain, I think, just so it takes off before winter. Hope everyone on call is having a good season, or an okay season too.
Thanks, Jock. We've had no questions come through so far.
No worries. Well, I don't want to hold anyone up. Get back to your day. If you have any questions at all, if you're too shy to ask at the webinar itself, feel free to once again, give us a
Oh,
call, send an email,
last,
and we'll go
last
from
minute
there.
questions coming through, Jock.
Yes. Yeah, here we go. This is what we want.
Can the map show shading related to the current DSE?
That's a great question. We did build a prototype for that, but it hasn't been released. No, it doesn't. You can easily get it though, so you can click on a paddock and you can see current DSE, for example, or you can get a paddock list and order by DSE as well. So you can get total DSE here or DSE per hectare here, and get it that way. I dare say I'll do improvements on grazing tooling without the product in the in the this year or early next year probably. So things like that may present itself, but that's great feedback. We'll take it on board and pass it on to the team. Thank you.
Another question, how long is the data stored for?
It's stored forever unless you request us to delete it all for you. That's yeah. So and it's all owned by the farmer. We're just the tool in between your data and the and you using it. But no, it's stored forever. So you can even leave Mobble for a number of years. I think maybe it's a 3 year thing. I can't quite remember what's in our thing, but it's a fair while. You can even leave Mobile for a while for a long time and come back, and all the data will still be there for you to get back into it. So yeah, it's stored for a while unless you request us to delete it for you.
Another question here from Patricia. Are you looking at partnering with a sheep weighing program?
Yes. So what's in talks at the moment, this is pretty public knowledge, so I can talk about it with OptiWeigh. So they're in paddock weighing. So maybe not what Patricia was asking for, maybe it was in yard weighing. But yeah, in paddock weighing. So we'll integrate with OptiWeigh to get so what they are is they're in paddock weighing device for sheep or cattle. Um, Massive in the cattle industry, getting bigger in the sheep industry. And they give a pretty good reading of your average weights within a paddock without moving your livestock, um, which is a great initiative. But it's yeah, we're integrating with them and dragging that information onto the mob. So that mob information on average weights, max weights, min weights is in your hands. Talking about yard weight systems like EID systems and stuff like that. Not at the moment. We've done a lot of research in the space, how we fit into the EID. At the moment, Mobile works really well alongside those systems. So if you're using TrueTest or anything like that, TrueTest stores all your data there in their software, and that works pretty well. But I dare say there will be something we're looking into there, but I can't really talk about anything there yet. Yep. Or promise
Cool.
anything there yet.
Yeah, one
Yep.
last question, Jock, from Katrina. Katrina's asked how we can transfer one mob from one property to another property on Mobble, and then a follow-up question on will that transfer through to Farm Focus? So yeah, cross property.
Oh, a good one. Um, that's a really good question. Like the farm focus one's a good question, but the cross property movements are really easy. You can't just pick up and move it like this because we're going onto a different map. We have to select the mob. Maybe you select the mobs that you want to move and move mobs here. Now, this is an advanced move mob form where we can move to a different property. So I can select the Eagle Hawk property there here and select the paddocks they're going to, or the paddock, sorry, they're going to. And move mob. Easy to split mobs off here too, so you can. So if you only moving 50 of this one and 10 of these ones across, um, very easy to do that too. So you can split all those livestock off and stuff like that. We'll note for those that are new to Mobble, so one of the Mobble's real big benefits is it's really fluid mob management. Like it's really fluid. The way you merge mobs, split mobs, um, and how they come together sometimes in the yards and split off in all different paddocks. It works the same way in Mobble. You just sort of follow the normal flow, and it should work. So it's really good at that fluid mob management. Yeah. Oh, with the farm focus thing, we're just doing any at the moment. It's just deaths and natural increases flowing into farm focus, and we'll continue adding functionality onto it. That's a good bit of feedback. I'll pass that one on to the team around property movements for reconciliation. That's a good one. Yep, thank you.
Oh, thanks for that, Jock.
Nice. This was great.
Fantastic. I think there's one more question from you, Ted, but I'll give you a call shortly, anyway, and catch up.
Awesome. Nice to see you back, Ted. All right. See you, everyone. Thanks so much for today. And yeah, feel free to get in touch with our team if you have any more questions. Cheers.